What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You already know the vibes. You are getting into the summer, and with the summer, there are still some headlines that are going out there in the NBA that we must discuss. Whether it is cap space opening up for what could be an exciting 2026 season, whether it is Summer League going down in Vegas, or if there's still trades going down right in this moment. And that's what we want to start the show with. But before we do that, Danny, what's good?
Not much, bro. Same old. You know what I'm saying? I'm just on baby duty, waiting for number 2 to drop, kicking it. Summertime. We on vacation mode, hiding out. Hence why you see the braids. So, yeah. What's good with you, bro?
When I'm solid. When you get prepared, what is that like when you're getting ready for a baby on the way? Like, are you just on high alert?
Yeah, basically, you just any day you're ready to go to the hospital. You're mostly fixing up the house for the next one to come. You're preparing a bag for the hospital. You're preparing nannies because we already have a toddler, for helping with him, because we can't keep him at the hospital all day or bring him to the hospital for every visit. So we're preparing him, mostly it's preparing the house and preparing him for having a new brother or new baby in the house, and then having help there for when he does come out.
So yes, so for those who don't know, Danny already has a 2-year-old son. So is
about to be two.
About to be two, excuse me. So does he know what's going on?
He has an idea. He's said he's only 22 months. It'll be 2 under 2. So he knows the baby brother. He knows the baby in the stomach, but he doesn't really know. He just knows that there's a baby in the belly. So he can't fully comprehend it, but he has somewhat of an idea. But it's about to blow his world up, just like it's about to blow. Like, it's going to change the world for everybody in the house.
Yeah, of course. What about the dogs?
It's new to them. They were very neglected when he came, and then we were trying to see if they could sense if she's pregnant. They're not good sensory. They're not like, and that's, some dogs can listen to the belly, or they know. One of them, Gizmo, kind of stays around her some, but they weren't listening to the belly. They don't really know a difference in her. They just know she has a big belly. And then when the baby comes out, they know him now, but they're not one of those dogs that like are around her a bunch or trying to like listen to the belly, or they can sense the baby and they like protective. They're
none of that.
Bro. They're oblivious. They're oblivious.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's first, before we get into basketball, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you give us hit that subscribe button on YouTube, please. If you are listening to us on any podcast app, particularly the Audacy app, make sure you give us a 5-star review. That is much appreciated. And now let's talk basketball. So we have a trade that went down recently. Norman Powell is now a member of the Miami Heat. The Los Angeles Clippers acquired John Collins, and Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson ended up in Utah. We'll see what happens with Kevin Love in Utah. It feels like that can be a wave situation there. We'll see where Kyle Anderson stays. It seems like John Collins can slot into maybe some backup forward, maybe small ball, 5 minutes for the Los Angeles Clippers. And Norman Powell ends up with the Heat. The Heat not having the best of summers, but actually this is not too bad of a deal, considering Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love were barely playing for the Miami Heat. Now you got a guy, Norman Powell, who was a fringe all-star last year. You can slot him in either as your sixth man, or maybe you try to even start him along Hero and Andrew Wiggins. They have some options there. They give him another score for a Miami Heat team that desperately needed it. But Danny, I think the biggest headline out of this whole circumstance is now with this move for the Clippers, getting off of Norman Powell's money, and the way they're set up now with a rumored buyout for Bradley Beal, it looks like the Clippers could be in a position this summer where they bring back James Harden, they add John Collins, they add Brook Lopez, and it is assumed now that the Clippers will also get a bought out Bradley Beal. Not too shabby at all.
Yeah, that's a great deal, honestly. Because before this, I think Miami was the front runners for Brad, or they were in talks of trying to get him if he was bought out. Now you have Norman Powell. There's no need for Brad there. But yes, having a Bradley Beal alongside a Kawhi Leonard or James Harden, and him obviously understanding now, it took him some while to adjust to being that third guy in Phoenix. Being a third guy off a bench role type of situation for him as he's getting older now in LA should be easy for him to adapt and adjust to, especially with the fact that the Clippers are not always 100% healthy throughout the whole season. He'll have a lot of minutes on the road, and they have a lot of front court. Like, they have really good moves in the front court this offseason, bringing in said John Collins, Brook Lopez. So yeah, they always have a great team. They always have a pretty solid roster. It's just, can they get it done in the playoffs? But yeah, this would be a great move and an ideal move for Bradley Beal if he does get bought out, to be in a situation like that, where being a pretty good team in the West, they always, to me, have in contention when you have players like Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. Even though they are a little older, but they're still very good and great at what they do. You have Zubac there, so you have a good core. So when you have that type of group, Brad can kind of fall into a situation or fall right into place and just kind of do what he does in that second unit, which I think Phoenix was expecting of him, but he wasn't healthy for most of the year. So yeah, Clippers are in a really good scenario, good situation. They made some really good offers. They're not as good as, to me, I mean, they made some good ones, but not as good as Atlanta, Detroit, and Dallas and Houston. Detroit made some good moves, bro. I know you may not like it, but they made some really good moves. Bro, they went and got Duncan Robinson. Who else did they get? They went and got, who was the other shooter they replaced Malik Beasley didn't sign back, but they replaced with a couple other shooters. They got some other shooters over there. Who am I missing? James,
I remember Duncan Robinson, and bro, if you don't remember the move, it probably wasn't that good.
No, it was a good move, bro. It was definitely a good move. It's not coming to me right now, but they made some really good moves, bro. Made some really good moves.
We'll circle back on that, but yes, Atlanta. It's not Houston.
Harris LeVert.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, he's not a shooter, but yeah, that's not. They also lost Dennis Schroeder though. Let's factor that in as well. Dennis Schroeder was big for their full court pressure, at least in that Knicks series when he was pressuring up Jalen Brunson 94 feet. I think he was huge for that series. But I get what you're saying. The Clippers moves, but they're not necessarily done, Danny. Yes, adding Norman Powell could help. It's still going to be interesting to see how he exactly would fit, because if you put Bradley Beal out there in the starting lineup with James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, maybe a Derrick Jones Jr. or John Collins and Ivica Zubac, you're losing the defensive pressure and that they were getting from Chris Dunn as a point of attack defender. But at the same time, Beal out there, you get more shooting. So they're still going to have to try and mix and match and make it work. They brought back Batum. And Derrick Jones Jr. is there, as I mentioned, so he could start and maybe be more of a point attack defender, or maybe you even put John Collins at the 4, Derrick Jones Jr. at the 3, and you have, and then you have Kawhi Leonard and James Harden in the backcourt. What they have is versatility, and as we saw in the NBA Finals by the two teams that made it to the finals, versatility is the key to the game. If you play just one way, some team will figure you out. But if you have multiple pitches in your arsenal, it is definitely going to help you out. Danny, let's do an exercise as we continue to talk about the Clippers. Because we did hear during Essence Fest this past weekend that Chris Paul informed Jamel Hill that this will be his last year in the NBA. If you could, Danny, just play along with me, please. Can you close your eyes? Pause. When I say the words Chris Paul, what do you see?
I see him back in the Clippers uniform, bro.
No. I want you to go back. What image is in your mind when you close your eyes and you think when I say the words Chris Paul and you close your eyes? What are you actually seeing? Not in the future, that comes to your visual memory.
I mean, when I think of Chris Paul, bro, I think of just like a Hall of Fame point guard. and I would say the jersey that he's wore. The main ones that stand out is Clippers and New Orleans. Like that was for me when I was, I'm gonna say growing up, because I'm not that much younger than him, which is crazy. He's still playing. His staple in the league when he had those series where him and Tony were going at it in New Orleans. And then, of course, when I was in San Antonio, he was with the Clippers at Lob City. And then he made some good runs when he was in OKC in Houston. But I think of obviously Phoenix too. He got to the finals finally.
Bro, you just have a montage in your head?
It's a montage, bro. Mid-range, Chris Paul. And when I think of Chris Paul, I think of him going back, him and Tony going back and forth. And then he had lob threats in New Orleans and in Clipperland. He had some good stuff, but he was a mid-range guy, and he's just an ultimate efficient point guard. And he's just one of those guys that's a great that may not win a ring. He's just one of those guys that you look at like Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson. He's just one of the greats and one of the best point guards that this game has seen because he's so smart and efficient and IQ. That's what I think of. I think of mid-range. I think of lob. I think of efficient IQ and one of the best point guards to play. And he played 20 years and he's done it in multiple uniforms.
Obviously I'm not you, but if I was you and if I closed my eyes and I thought about Chris Paul, I thought the one defining thing, the first image that would pop to my mind would be the 2000. Yeah. No, my bad. I'm sorry.
I don't think of the negative shit that happened in my life. Like, it's a positive for him. Just like if I think of, obviously Ray Allen was more detrimental to me. It's like, that shot. So losing in a game 7 on a game winner. But yes, that play was one that I hate to remember. Him getting the damn one-legged floater getting to his right hand, sucks, and over Timmy. But no, I don't just think of one play when I think of Chris Paul. That maybe said it might be a different scenario when I think of Ray Allen, but I try not to think of the negative things or the heat of battle that I've had with the person. Obviously, Chris was annoying as hell. He was hard. He was a tough competitor, and that's why San Antonio brought him in, because they hated to play against him. He's one of those guys you hate to play against, but you love to have on your team. Because he just knows how to, I wouldn't say manipulate the game, but he knows the ins and outs of defense and offense. He's so smart with everything that he does, and he was just a pain in the ass to play. So every time we played against him, it was always some stuff that he's going to find a way to manipulate somehow the game. He's going to get a foul some way, somehow, and he's going to flop. He's going to, but he's going to do everything possible to win. And that's just who he was from the start of college. He's had some plays where people may say they're dirty, but that's how he got to it. And that was just competitive back then. So yeah. But when I think of Chris Paul, I just think of point. He said he played for 20 years. And the one play to me, it sucked that we lost, but that one really didn't define, because it was a first round for us. It was a first round exit. If it was like a finals exit or Western Conference Finals.
But it was a title defense year though.
It was, but we had been to the finals 2 years in a row. And at that point, I think we were like, in my mind, we were fatigued, and was like, if we didn't lose to them, it might have been somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if we had it in us that year to go the length. So yes, that play is a pain in the ass to watch. It sucks. I've only been in 4 game 7s. I'm 50%, and all of them have been decided by game winners. Unfortunately, one on the good end of it with Kawhi hitting one, and the other 2 is Ray Allen and CP. Damn, on the bad end of it. So yeah.
Game 7 dramas. Okay, so I bring up Chris Paul, and obviously because he said this is going to be his last year, but also because it is well within the possibility that the Clippers also end up getting Chris Paul as well. So now you're looking at an offseason where the Clippers get John Collins. They end up bringing back James Harden. They bring back Nikola Batum. They bring in Brook Lopez. Could be Bradley Beal plus Chris Paul, which gives them a very impressive roster. There's no doubt about that. And it adds on to what has been a very good summer for the Thunder's contenders, whether it be the Houston Rockets, bringing in Kevin Durant and Dorian Finney-Smith and company, whether it be the Denver Nuggets, bringing back Bruce Brown, bringing in Cam Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas. We'll see, but more than likely. And then now what I just mentioned with the Clippers. And oh yeah, by the way, the Timberwolves did go to back-to-back Western Conference Finals. Oh, and then there's the Lakers who just added DeAndre Ayton, which say what you want about him, is a very big upgrade over whatever they were starting last year at the center position. My question to you before we, and by the way, now Jackson Hayes is back, just coming off the bench.
He is.
With all that being said, Danny, you could only pick one. Who is the biggest contender to the Thunder's chances to repeating in the West?
All the moves you mentioned, great moves by a lot of teams. And I think you're still sleeping on that Detroit move because they still could probably bring back Malik Beasley if he's cleared for even cheaper. But they also got Jaden Ivey coming back. That's the East. But the West, I like what the Clippers are doing. I just don't believe in it. I have to see it when it comes to playoff time. And they have to be healthy. I like what Houston has done. I also have to see Kevin Durant stay healthy throughout the season. I think they're also gonna need the trade with Cam Whitmore. So for them to do that and stay under the first apron, very impressive. But they do need more shooting. Minnesota, I think they were very good this year, and they figured some things out with Julius. Losing Nickeil Alexander-Walker, big hurt. I know you got Terrence Jr. there, who's very good, but he's going to need some time to grow into that role. So, and I think they also got lucky of getting to the Western Conference Finals. Their pathway helped them get there. Lakers, not there yet. Still far, far away. Denver, they can convince Jonas Valanciunas to stay in the United States. You have that big with him and Jokic, and you also play backup, but you could play, back to get Bruce Brown back. And I don't know what's going on with Russell Westbrook or who else you might pick up. But as long as you have Jokic on your team and you add those pieces that you mentioned to that group with Cam Johnson, Carolina guy, who I know is a very good player. You just have to make some adjustments to playing with those guys. Jamal Murray, sure, coming back with a chip on his shoulder and getting healthy and getting his body right. Aaron Gordon being healthy because he played with you got guys today, a little soft. You got some injuries that sit them out for playoff games. He's playing with a damn near torn hamstring in a game 7. Said, F it, I'm going to go out there. You get Aaron Gordon and those guys healthy with the pieces that they brought in. I think it's pretty easy, clear-cut decision for me. Like, Denver Nuggets are the most threatening to the OKC Thunder. And outside of them, because I haven't seen it yet, the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving healthy with that front court that they have with AD, Gafford, PJ Washington, Lively. Then you got Cooper Flagg, Rook learning on the fly, Clay. You said D'Lo at the point guard position now. They got to stay healthy. When Kai comes back, that is trouble. So to me, it's Denver and Dallas that I always see. If I had to pick one because I've seen it enough and that I believe in it more, that I will stay healthier than the other team, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets, because the Dallas Mavericks has had some bad luck with health issues last year. So hopefully this year they have that turnover new leaf, that turn for them. But I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets.
Speaking of the Denver Nuggets, we did get some news on Tuesday, July 8th, that it should be concerning to Denver Nuggets fans. Despite the moves that they have made, Nikola Jokic has informed the team that he will not be signing a contract extension and that he is going to wait until after the offseason. Now, one can say he is just doing that because he wants to sign a new deal when his contract will allow him to get paid so much more. Other people have started to say, wait a second. Didn't the Lakers say they wanted to prioritize 2026 cap space? Hold on, wait a second. Isn't there a known friendship between Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic? Won't the Lakers, with LeBron only opting in for 1 year, not having an extension, don't they have cap space to bring in somebody the caliber and financial necessity of Nikola Jokic? Yes, they do. Danny?
It seems
now, if I asked you this question in January of 2025, you would have slapped me and said, you're stupid. Calm down, settle down.
Yeah.
However, in the month of February, we saw the most absurd trade in the history of the National Basketball Association, where Luka Doncic ended up with the Los Angeles Lakers.
And there's no talks about it beforehand.
So we cannot say, say that is a 0% chance that Nikola Jokic doesn't end up with the Los Angeles Lakers. There is a chance. How much is that chance? I'll let you predict. On a scale of 1 to 10.
We'll ponder.
What are you giving it, Dandy?
Like I said, before the year of 2025, I would have said impossible. Makes no sense. Stupid conversation. We don't need to discuss this because Nikola Jokic is not going anywhere. Same conversation about LeBron James leaving LA. But this seems to be a conversation in today's world in the summertime of 2025 of him being waived and bought out, because we've also seen Damian Lillard get waived. We've seen so many other people get bought out. And you're like, what the hell is going on? You see Luka Doncic get traded. Anything can happen in today's world, NBA world. We don't know where Giannis is going to end up. He could be gone somewhere. We've seen so many changes happen. I don't know if you've seen the tweet, but somebody tweeted out, my brother had a coma for 15 years. What has happened in the last, not even 15, but in the last 5 years, you would not believe who's changed jerseys and who's on what team. So with that being said, anything is possible, but I still think he ain't going nowhere. Like, in my mind, it's like a 20, at best, 30% chance that he leaves Denver. I think he likes the Mile High City. I think he likes the taxes better there. He seems very low maintenance type of guy. And I think LA would be too much for him, his brothers, his family to move there. It'd be, I don't know if he grew up a Lakers fan, which I doubt. I think he grew up more of a horse fan than any NBA team fan. So he don't care. Yeah. He don't care about organizations or teams. He didn't grow up a Boston Celtic fan. Now, if it was somewhere closer to his home, where he can travel, fly back home, which to me, I think would be the East Coast. It'd be like, oh, it's closer for me. It's easier for me to get back to Europe from these states. That would make sense. LA seems a bit further. So to me, it does not make sense. And it's more taxes. I'm giving it 30% at best, but I'm going to say 20% chance that he leaves Denver and ends up in LA. Higher percent chance if it was like, oh, he leaves Denver and ends up somewhere on the East Coast, like a Boston or a New York. But I couldn't see him going further away from home to be taxed more in a place like that. Now, maybe Orlando, like I could see him going to a Texas team, Orlando team, like him thinking of tax purposes, like, oh, this makes sense. But I don't see him going anywhere. And Denver's not going to allow it. They're going to throw everything they possibly have, including the kitchen sink, to keep him in Denver when that time comes.
Absolutely. I think it's a minimal chance. It is interesting, though, that it is setting up for the opportunity to even be there. The fact that an opportunity is even there is definitely something to consider. With that being said, I don't think it happens. It is gonna make for headlines.
Free agency, NBA world, a little bit more interesting. So now I don't know how much if he signs an extension when, but free agency, if he waits till then, we have free agency back to where it was at one point, because the free agency as of late, it's been very dry. It's a one day, deals are done one day, and then dry. You get one deal a day after the next 5 days after that. And yes, we don't get as much excitement anymore. This will have NBA free agency or summer talks and more of an interest and exciting entertainment time.
Yeah, teams have been saving up or trying to gear themselves to be available in 2026. Could you imagine a 2026 offseason where Nikola Jokic is potentially available, where Giannis confirms that he wants to be traded? It could be very, very, very interesting. But we still have this summer to deal with, Danny. So before we get out of here, I want to break down to you my top 4 storylines for NBA Summer League, because basketball is still going on. And it starts on Thursday. So let me give you my headlines, or the things that I will be looking for. Now, first and foremost, before we even get into that, can you tell me, if you were in a front office, what exactly...
Party foul.
Party foul. Almost dropped my mic there. Foul. Great. What exactly are you looking for in Summer League? If you were in the front office and you drafted a guy, and maybe not just from your first year guys, maybe from your second year guys too. Give me the 2 things that you needed to see that can encourage you, or 1 or 2 things that would discourage you if you were in the front office.
Well, the second year guys a little bit easier to study or to expect more from. Like, you want to see, I'm looking at IQ. Obviously, I'm looking at who is working, how hard they're working, who understands philosophies, who's picking up things, their IQ, who's studying film. So second year guys, I would say, is easier to evaluate. Be like, okay, these are the things we wanted him to work on, and this is what he's gotten better at, and this is what he's understanding. First year guys, you haven't really got a hold of. So you don't even know what you want them to work on, what you want them to fill in your system, or what voids you might have. So first year guys, I'm just looking to see how well they understand the game. And of course, Summer League, most guys come in, I got to get buckets. And that's not always the case. I want to see their movements, how well they move. Just, again, their IQ, how well they can pick up offensive structure, how well they pick up defensive philosophies, and go from there. And that's just a minimal grand scheme of things. Obviously, I want to see how they look amongst their peers. But to me, it's not as important. And the second year guys is, all right, what have you picked up? What have you learned? And how much growth have you made from year 1 to year 2? And not only scoring and passing, but like mentally, because most of these guys in most situations are not going to be starting or playing a ton of minutes right away. Some of them maybe, but it's how well you're going to adapt to being a role player. And obviously, being in Summer League, you trying to be a star, you're not going to be that during the regular season. So it doesn't make sense to do that. But I'm just looking at IQ, so work ethic, how well they're taking care of their bodies, how well they're developing, all the small things, because in the grand scheme of it, the numbers, the stats, all that stuff does not matter, but also want to see you play hard. So don't go out there cool in it or being, I want to see a sense of urgency. Ain't no lackadaisical, ain't no too cool, or I'm the show. I want to see how, not only how humble you are, but just where your work ethic is. This is where you see work ethic and growth.
Well, there's going to be a lot of eyes on the debut in Vegas Summer League, or the debut day, because you do see Cooper Flagg taking on Bronny James and the Los Angeles Lakers Summer League teams. Yeah. And there is reports that it's actually the most expensive Summer League ticket of all time. And now I will get to the things that I'll be looking for. And it features, and it features those 2 guys. Number 1, Cooper Flagg. How will he look as a playmaker? We know that Kyrie Irving might not come back to the end of the year, and there's no guarantee that he even comes back. He recently said on a live stream, when posed the question if he's coming back next year, he said, "Don't hold your breath." So there's no guarantee that Kyrie's coming back. We still expect him to, but we can't necessarily lock it in. Yes, the Dallas Mavericks brought in D'Angelo Russell on a 2-year deal, player option on year 2. So he's going to be playing for some money. We expect him to play at a solid level. They did bring back Dante Exum. We'll see how much ball handling responsibility he has. But Jason Kidd made it clear when he introduced Cooper Flagg during the introductory press conference, he's going to give Cooper Flagg an opportunity to do some ball handling, to do some playmaking. And we'll see about all that, but
not exactly honest, but be a point forward,
but I know,
like
yes, but look, more of a point forward, yes. So with Summer League being here and him having the opportunity to reign free without having the obligation of throwing it down in the post to Anthony Davis or finding Klay Thompson in the perimeter for a 3-point shot, this is going to be an opportunity for us as NBA fans to watch Cooper Flagg and see and predict how he might do as a playmaker. Will he be a good basketball player? For sure. There are still very valid concerns about his playmaking ability. Now, there's some people who watched him in college who say, oh, he could definitely do it. And there's people like me who are like, no, I don't know. You're going to have to show me. I didn't see enough. Granted, I didn't watch him in every game in college, but I'm not. He's a guy who could dribble the ball. Just because he could dribble the ball doesn't mean he's a playmaker. That's how I feel, but I am open to be proven wrong. So for me, Danny, I think that because he's the number 1 pick, because of the stakes that have gone into bringing him to Dallas, that for me is the top headline. Can Cooper Flagg actually be a playmaking forward? Because if he is, then it fits. Then he could be on the court with PJ Washington Anthony Davis and maybe Derek Lively. But if he's really a 3 or really a 4 who could just put the ball on the ground at times, now, Danny, now you have a logjam. Now there's too many.
Changes his trajectory. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to change the roster construction because they would have too many forwards. But if he's a forward who could play make, then you could keep all those guys, the Najee Marshalls of the world, the PJ Washingtons of the world, the Daniel Gaffords of the world. Then it makes sense. But if he can't really be a ball handling playmaker, they have too many forwards.
And unfortunately, Harrison, I'm sorry to tell you, you will not find that out in Summer League. The things that you're looking at, I appreciate you want to see these things. These guys play 1, maybe 2 games and then get shut down. And the players that they're playing against, you're not going to get a full dose of what it is, and it's not going to be realistic. So that's why I'm not looking at those things. Yeah, I would love to see Dylan Harper versus Cooper Flag or Ace Bailey and Cooper Flag matchup. Like, it's going to be great. It's exciting. Those are things I'm looking forward to. You're getting a small dose, and these guys might not ever match up. And seeing the playmaking now, it's not going to be the same when it's regular season. So that's why when I say I'm looking at this, and this, there's more so characteristics. So when I say these characteristics, for example, Ace Bailey, his approach to the game. I know there's talks of him not wanting to be in Utah. How is he approaching Summer League? How is he approaching practice? Is he being a professional? And on the court, is he being humble enough? Is he going to work and have work ethic to be like, you know what? Regardless of where I'm at, I'm going to change this franchise around. I'm going to prove that I'm a franchise guy, and I'm still working. My strategic move was to drop in the draft so I can get my second contract sooner. I'm going to try to still do that here regardless. So I'm looking at that, looking at the work ethic, how they approach things. These guys are already good, but you're not going to see, to me, the enough dose of like what they can do in this small scale of Summer League. So it's going to be hard to decipher or see those things. Unfortunately, it sucks. I would love to see Cooper Flag play 5 games and see if he can play. You're going to see him maybe 2 games, and as they should shut him down. Blake Griffin, when he came in, played 2 games, dunked the ball 10 times and sat down.
I'm good. That's it.
Zion Williamson, like, they're going to dunk the ball, rip the ball from Kevin Knox, dunk the ball, flex on him, probably shut it down. So yeah, you'll see a small, very good glimpse of some things, but you're not going to see enough to know what they're going to be and who they really are. So that's why I'm looking at the work ethic and other things. So yes,
that's fair.
Great things to look forward to, but unfortunately, what you're looking for, I don't think you're going to get, my man, and I'm sorry.
Valid points. Thank you for putting some water on that flame, unfortunately. But I understand what you're saying. The thing with Ace Bailey was one of my topics as well. I do want to see his commitment level, his to your point, his professionalism playing in Summer League for a Utah team that there were reports that he didn't want to be with. So that is going to be very important to me. But to your point, though, I do have some other things that I'm also looking for. Now, 2 very important players to me in next year's Western Conference. Nikola Topic, who was a lottery pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder in last year's draft. He sat out this past season because of an injury, but he was a lottery pick, and he has been praised with his ability to be a playmaker, a big forward with ball handling ability. And Reed Shepherd, who was a star in last year's Summer League, barely got playing time during this past regular season, and now is playing on the Rockets team that is no longer up and coming. The Rockets are here, and Fred VanVleet cannot play 48 minutes a game at the point guard position. If you look at the Rockets roster right now, it's easy to, one of the things that you would have to say is their weakness is the backup point guard spot, which is something that Reed Shepherd can be occupying, particularly because he was a top 5 pick in the draft.
Which they should, but they did bring back Aaron Holiday. So, and that's who they played over him past year, which said Aaron Holiday, good player, but to most people in the league, not enough as a great, stable backup point guard to lead your team. So they need to groom Reed Shepherd into that role. Yes. So
exactly. Now, no worries. Now, to your point, you're not necessarily going to see if they can actually fit that role per se, because again, Reed Shepherd was balling out of his mind last year in Summer League. But what I want to see from Topic and from Shepherd is confidence, like the aura of, I am not even supposed to be here.
I'm not a rookie. I'm not showing.
I'm not a rookie, and and even if and I'm a second year player that shouldn't even be here either.
And
like Victor Wembanyama didn't play second year. Stephon Castle not playing in summer league. That's the type of confidence that I'm hoping to see from Reed Sheppard and from Topic. Topic might have to play more because he didn't play last year, so just to get some reps. But from Reed Sheppard, for sure, I'm the backup point guard for the Houston Rockets. I'm going to play 18 to 20 minutes a game. I don't need summer league, and I'm going to play in 1 to 2 games and show y'all I don't even need to be here. I'm out.
I don't know if you've seen Reed Sheppard's numbers in the G League, but he needs to do the same thing. Like 30, 40 ball. I don't belong here. What am I doing here? Why am I here? And he's shown that he can do that. Topic may need to set more reps, but if Reed Sheppard does what he's been doing this past year, which we didn't see much of because he was in the G League, but if he does that, he should be shut down after 1 game. But he's shown that he doesn't belong. He has to carry that aura, that confidence to the summer league and continue throughout the regular season and show that he should be the guy that should be backing up Fred VanVleet and not Aaron Holiday. Like, he should be trying to take those minutes or split the minutes or get some type of minutes on the road, because he could be a really good piece for them. I like his game. I think he's a really good player and point guard, and they need to utilize him more. I think Cam Whitmore is another guy, even though they traded him away, but those 2 young guys were guys that they could have groomed and get some good value out of them, some good stock in them. Now that Cam Whitmore's gone, Reed Sheppard is a guy that you need to groom and allow him to fly a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Allow him to spread his wings. So,
last but not least, Bronny James. He got a lot of attention last year for negative there's a lot of negative commentary about him, about his belonging in the NBA. Now, last year, we did see him have some good performances in the G League. We also saw that he got pretty much garbage time minutes in the NBA. And part of me felt for him because it felt like the crowd there at Crypto.com Arena, they weren't trying to mock him. They were, when they would say Bronny at the end of the game, because they wanted him to get in the game. Like, I'm a Knicks fan, and when they say PJ Washington at the end of the game, PJ Tucker at the end of the game, like, I'm sure, like, they're not doing it to quote unquote embarrass them, but I'm sure, Danny, if you were in Tucker's position or if you were in Bronny's position, you'd feel like you don't want charity minutes anymore. I'm not a charity player. I am an NBA player. And for Bronny this summer league, I would love to see him have such a confidence on the court that it's no longer a debate. It's no longer a question.
He should get some minutes. And yes, if he's shown the growth, which I've seen, he's playing well and show that he can, be a solid, I'm going to say rotational guy, but a guy that can get minutes that are not charity minutes. He said that's part of the reason why I retired age. I was not doing the charity thing. It's cool to be in the locker room, but the charity minutes, I said, as much as you might be a fan favorite and they love you wherever it is in Toronto or Philly, they want to put you in the game. That as a player with pride that's been playing for 20 years of his life, damn near, professionally in college and then 15 years in the league, you do not want to be in that position. Which said, you take it in good stride, and you love the fact that you're getting that type of appreciation from the fan base, but that's not what you came to do. That's not what you're in the league to do or be. And I'm sure Bronny James and PJ Tucker the same are not in the league to do that. And he wants to make his own name. He wants to make his own, lane for himself. So he has an opportunity this year to do so. So Lakers haven't brought in a bunch of guys. Him and Dalton Connect can be guys that can kind of push themselves into the rotation a little bit more. And I'm expected and excited to see the growth from them. And I think Dalton Connect can be a really big piece for them moving forward, for sure.
We won't bring up Dalton Connect's box score so far throughout the summer league, but I'll just let you know it hasn't been good. All right. We'll be locked into summer league. We'll be locked into anything else.
Good. I don't know if you seen this fourth quarter.
I haven't seen that, but for the majority of it hasn't been. Okay, well,
I think they were down 15. I think he had something in the fourth. He got hot in the fourth quarter the other night. So yeah, but
we'll see how his summer league pans out for not just him, for Bronny, for Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, and the rest of the 2025 Summer League. We'll be keeping up with it. If anything happens of note, we will be updating you. And obviously, we'll keep our eyes on anything related to roster moves as well. We appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions for our next show, because we are entering that dead period in the basketball zone, feel free to drop it in the comments. And maybe we'll find it and maybe we'll use it as a discussion topic for our next episode. With that being said,
yep, you know what to do. Read, rate, subscribe, review. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.